You pick and choose people, cars, and that's how the event grows.
Anybody who relates or connects with cars greatly is part of the club. You will be mightily surprised that we've never seen these cars. They were existing in India. From like a Japanese edition of basement, we're trying to move into a more like a Texas edition of an open space.
We'll probably do a project on the Zen. No scope for electrics in Underground?
Without an engine, without a transmission, do I really connect with the car?
Welcome to the Evo India podcast. Now, this week's episode, it might sound niche, but it's something that you are familiar with. We have been exposed to it in the movies. Fast and the Furious, for example, Tokyo Drift in particular. We've experienced it. If you are a gamer in Gran Turismo, you've experienced a bit of it. We're talking about the underground car culture. And specifically to dive into it, we've got with us Jeet Tapaswi of Tapaswi Racing and the team behind the Pune Underground Festival.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That was a very warm welcome. But I must admit, this is the table that I think I've seen it. All the podcasts that I keep reviewing it. In so many ways, it's been an inspiration. And to kind of share the chair with the chief himself, it's my pleasure.
Thanks, Jeet. Thanks for being here. Now, I know you're busy because the 9th edition of the Underground is going to be happening. It's happening, well, as per the rules of the Underground, I cannot say when it's going to be happening, but it'll be happening very soon after this podcast drops. This podcast, we're aiming to drop it up on Friday, so very soon. What is the whole theme behind Underground?
Well, you've heard about Underground. People know about Underground, and this operates pretty much in the similar zone, if I could say so. And I think the 9th edition, we've learned every edition to make it typically sound like an underground. And this time around, we also have some guests coming in from foreign. So that takes a lot of planning. But like you've heard it, the date's not disclosed. The venue is never disclosed. Even to the guys who are closely associated with it, it may come as a surprise. So we operate out of a group, but a lot of review, a lot of feedback, a lot of background verification to understand if you really fit in that OG car guy sort of a zone, then we enroll you.
So we've seen a bit of this underground car culture in Fast and the Furious, for instance.
Right.
You know, all these cool cars parked in a parking lot, in a basement in particular, lots of music, lots of song and dance, lots of eye candy. What was the inspiration for Underground in Pune?
I come from a racing family. Father's been racing, uncle's been racing, so cars were always around. And the way they were kept, the collection that was sitting in the house, I think the only toy or something that we would look forward to. So I think it sits in the blood with us. And while I was growing, I also obviously wanted to go back to see if there's people like me who's into cars and bikes. So the way it started, honestly, I think started my career into racing. But I would also, like the racing would happen only seasonal, like in and around Pune, wherever I could get time. But there was
specifically bike racing, right? You used to do supercross?
Yeah, supercross, motocross, dirt bike, and some bit of autocross because motorsports rarely existed then. It was just about time where it was really fading off. We didn't have too much events happening here. So to be associated, we said, might as well maintain our cars. So group of friends got together to do what we can, learn from forums, lot of Evo podcasts as well, look back to various things that inspired us, started jamming together, and that's where obviously the movies were always around, like Fast and Furious, who kept an inspiration, has been since childhood. We would watch movies and to say if there's a place that we can create something like this. So it started with like as good as...
When did it start?
2014, if I remember this rightly. And this started out of my place. I remember of it to be a 17 cars.
Okay.
And we did it a very close-knit thing, saying that let's not go very commercial about it. Let's not go very gaga about it. Let's stick to the guys who've been hanging around with us to see what they bring in on the table.
So it started off as a friends and family get-together?
Absolutely. And I think that's something that I thought was very close for it to be like sound like an underground, because it cannot operate with people you don't know. That's the reason why it takes us so much time to enroll anybody, to bring into the underground community, so we call it.
So I have a little bit of a personal story over here. I think 2 years ago, when you sent out the dates for the underground, I put it up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I got a call in 2 minutes saying that take down the dates.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that you don't advertise the underground dates, and you're not looking for random people to come and just create a mailer.
Correct.
You're looking for a very niche crowd. And the whole idea, everybody does events looking at it to be a more mass event, get more participation, get more people in, maybe ticket it, and that becomes like an income stream. But you are completely on the other side of the fence. You are not ticketed. You don't
Never.
charge people to enter the event.
Never.
You pick and choose people, cars, and that's how the event grows.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of attention that we've got, and I think people are associating with car culture to be also a cool culture. So many inspirations around, and I think we've one thing we were really conscious about to grow it organically too, so that we inspire with the right set of people. There are so many colleges that will call us to show what we've got as created as a car. So I think we're slightly conscious about what is the messaging that we're trying to give to people, and
What
that's
is the messaging?
so okay, not racing on the road, I think would probably fall first. The amount of deaths that happen on the road, if there's any way I can make any difference, I'll be glad. Okay, touching your father's car, maybe driving it in the night out and putting people's life on danger is not cool. That's second message that we carry. Following road rules for certain reasons, like avoiding traffic jam, driving in the right sense, and all of other things that falls under a road rule category is heavily promoted by us. So I think, and then I think of beyond a point, getting a car, revving it to the limit, which is may sound cool. You must have seen in the movies, but it's not actually cool.
I just came from IBW,
And
so I saw it in real
also,
life.
Yeah. So I think to put that out to tell a guy, a college guy, if he's aspiring to become a motorsport enthusiast or a car passionate guy, this is not cool. And I think to an extent, from 10 years from now, everybody who's associating with us fairly understands that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I want to give it a credit to saying that it took us a long time to drive that culture, but wanted to take a credit to say to an extent we've been able to improve that.
Mm-hmm. So when you get your cars together, what kind of cars come for these kind of events? Let's go into that first.
Okay, so when we started, we've had a few of the guys out of the college who came into this event with a stock car, and we knew these guys were hungry to understand, learn more. They now, to an extent, have gone back and developed their own car garages, doing fantastically well. Some of them were running their hotels, boutiques, and have gone back.
Some names.
Piston Wolves, big example. Digvijay himself was running a restaurant that I know, has gone into make his own car workshop. Pretty famous in Pune right now. Likewise, we've got Nish Customs, who was into some other industry, came back to open a car accessory shop and is doing pretty well for himself. Likewise, I think other areas, and they're expanding, and they're putting up examples for people as such. So I'm glad we are inspiring people in the right sense. And like to your question, what kind of these people are we enrolling? So some of them come through Instagram channel. Some of them have been following us. Some of them hang out with us to become a car guy eventually. So yes, I think not easy job. Like I say, I sit with a car enthusiast team. So these are people right out of college, have done automobile, come back and support me. And because this cannot be just like a one-man operating team. And while we are 7 of us as friends, but further on, there are about 50 of them who sits as a core team with us and works as a crew for me. So they will go back and check your profile to understand if you have the right etiquettes to be part of the club. So we've, over the course of time, while 4 basic principles existed, we've gone back to further define it to see how can we really keep it niche.
So the cars that we see at these events, they're not stock cars. They're all cool cars, or do you have stock cars also?
Okay. So couple of our underground editions, we've had the 800s or the Zens take away the best prizes as well.
Okay.
So the meaning, if you're bringing the car back to life and putting in the way it is supposed to be, still makes you a great car guy. So somebody who put that Zen back, it is like I'm a Zen guy. Like I love Zen, how the way the car has a character, and I still own one. So somebody pulled it out of the junkyard to make it stock like she's right out of the
store it
showroom.
like a concourse kind of special.
Like I would relate it to some car stepping out of the showroom, and I mean, imagine this is a 20-year-old car, and people have gone out of their way, imported stuff from Japan, Thailand to just bring it back to the glory. That also makes him a great car guy, and I have a lot of respect for all of these. So community, a space for anybody who relates or connects with cars greatly is part of the club or the community. Everybody's welcome.
Okay, so you've got cars coming from all over the country. Now, we're talking about the Pune Underground, but this is because you are based out of Pune, that's why you started it in Pune. It's not like Pune has the largest population of cool cars. That could probably be Bombay or Bangalore or Delhi. But
Right.
because you're Pune based, that's why the underground movement started over here. And now you've got cars coming from Pune, Bangalore, Delhi, right?
Look, I mean, while I thought of this about 5 years back, I was like, okay, another 10 years till I have my friends coming in over, looking at practicality of the things. Then I said, okay, now it just came in about 5 years down the line. I have cars coming in from all corners, like Kerala, the best of the cars from Kerala, Hyderabad, we've got Bangalore. I've got about 5 cars that got loaded yesterday from Chandigarh.
Okay.
And Chief, I must tell you, you will be mightily surprised that we've never seen these cars. They were existing in India.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They're that crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I mean, coming back to where all they coming from, Hyderabad, Chandigarh, Delhi, and up northeast, there's about 2 cars that's coming in.
Okay.
So these are the friends that have inspired us or probably have got inspired out of us. And I think if they take back this message to their city, I think that's our job as well. And eventually, I think we want to get to a point where, imagine we declare an underground, only these guys know, and we have trucks loaded about six cars coming in. That will be some epic scene that we've only seen in movies.
What do you have planned for this edition of Underground?
Okay, Underground in itself is always creating surprises. And I think my biggest fear generally when the Underground gets over is always like, okay, what next? We've been mightily blessed. We've had great friends who've associated with us in the days to come. If I run out of ideas, my gang's there, the Underground boys. And then, like, obviously, like, friends turn into brothers, like Sanam was our find in the edition 7 to go back to work very closely with us. With him, there are surprises. Now, Sanam's kitty will eventually get over. We got to figure out more friends. Imran's been a great support.
Yeah.
Horsepower Cartel's been absolutely amazing. This time around, we've got Kerala. We've got Babs coming in from Kerala. So
Okay.
he's loved the vibe. He's wanting to go back and associate with us. So while these guys become a part of the community, they're also bringing in some surprises. So this time around, what do we have? Well, it's from like a Japanese edition of Basement. We're trying to move into a more like a Texas edition of an open space.
Okay.
While you have an open space, we've done drag races in Underground. We've done donuts and drifting. This time around, you'll probably see for the first time about 5 cars going tandem in drifting.
Okay.
You'll probably see.
So are those cars that have been loaded in from Chandigarh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them there. Some of them are really fast cars. That just tells you that there's also going to be a drag race. And with us, I think, Indian category, we go back and give cash prizes. So somebody who's worked really day in and out. And I think I like the vibe what sets in 1 month before all the garages are full. Like I have about 7 cars that I'm working as a project cars. So my lineup shows there. Like my Isuzu will change theme every Underground.
Okay.
So when you see it next, I'll be surprised if you really recognize to say this is the car that you saw last. So it in a way also gets me excited and my friends around. So the whole vibe is around changing the theme. Like let's see if somebody's trying to do, and some people also are trying to hide and surprise me and others to see if I can be the winner of this time. So this cash prizes are associated, which I like to give back to the community from whatever we earn. So some sponsors have really looked back to us to support us, and I think this time around we've been really lucky to the brands that are working with us. So that way is just giving back to the community. And we're talking about rewarding the right set of people, sending the right messages. So I think that's one of the mottos as well.
So like you said, people get in touch with you, say via friends, word of mouth, or directly via Instagram, and then you check out their cars, check out who they are, check out if they are a right fit for this movement that you started, right? That's how you find people.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of events across India. So like Vroom is one. We go to Bangalore. I work very closely with Rongom sir at the Valley Run. So there are multiple cars that come in there. We go back to check and talk to people to understand what he's done, what is the background to the cars, or he just bought it trying to be a racer maybe. So that ways are also one medium that we enroll people to be a part of the community.
Now, these cars are parked and they're exhibited, or do they also do runs during the underground?
I honestly promote cars to be practical. Like I love what Imran does. If he wants to go out on a GTR for a dinner, it just is possible. While it's heavily modded 700 bhp to 1200 bhp that it ranges. So I encourage people to build project cars on those lines. Like I may be like an average guy, but can I afford to be for the project car just to be parked? When do I enjoy? And there are not many events, not many racetracks around us to enjoy them. So I promote, like somebody's trying to socialize with me, am I working on this build? Can I really go all out? Even if he has the money, I won't recommend that he does it unless he's looking at targeting a trophy at a valley run or national championship or something like that.
This is not a competitive event, right?
Well, not competitive but fun. So to answer that, we now we're trying to say who's got a better burnout. We've all wanting to do this on car shows. We've restricted because the events, the location didn't favor it in the past.
But the underground parking lot.
Yeah, I mean it's not very good because we've got families, we've got kids coming in. So do we really want to create a scene for them where it's not very comfortable? So this time around I have an slightly open space, free space. I go back to reward people who's probably and the judges are likes of Sanam, Imran, and we've got somebody coming from abroad this time, which will be also a surprise for you, I think, a mighty surprise. I think he's a legend out of Malaysia that we're trying to bring in to see if there's any way we can open a door to international clients coming in for underground as well. So yes, I think if he's good at something, there's always been this spot where people want to show what they're good at from a skill perspective. So we've cordoned off an area, putting up a right message, the dedicated areas for dedicated things that are associated with cars. And that's I think is going to be one of the mottos, saying that if you're good at something, cordon off area is the space and not in the open and public, putting people's life in threat.
And then you showcase your skills, what you've done to the car, and make a big noise.
Yeah, I mean, see, off-duty driver was one such. I got inspired by Sanam, and I think that's when we built the school, and I think you guys are strongly
so let's talk about off-duty driver. So what we know of is it's one of the first drift schools in the country where you also build drift cars.
Absolutely. I think so all these community people, I think when we came down together, we saw Sanam. It's like, okay, there could be a more practical way of doing this. That's where we burnt our hands and built these Mercedes. And we are about a year and a half down that we created this school. And the first commercial event that I did was out in public, was at Valley Run. Mighty impressed with what the way car performed. But we for our friends keep doing this at the back door. We have a dedicated track at it. But now that I've burned my hands and I think fairly successful run that we are trying to do. Now there are cars in Kerala, there are cars in Chandigarh, there are cars in Delhi. So we're helping our friends to build the same thing, and that's how I think there are about 5 schools now that I learned are drift schools in India alone. And that I think is how you grow the culture.
So off-duty driver,
right.
You do the old C-Class, obviously because rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, and also affordable to buy.
Absolutely. I think 4.5 lakh rupees is decent car to, but they're limited in India. So as many you get, you should just, like we've got about 12 of them in Pune with us, the close gang. But as and when somebody's shown an interest, we invite them for a track day. We do once in a month.
What do you do to the cars? You weld the drift, the diff. What all do you do?
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes engines are reliable.
Yeah.
So manual, petrol, and supercharged. That's the 3 combination that you got to look at the C200 model, which is W203 and W204's model. Once you find the car, diff weld is first. You immediately start drifting. But is the intercooler really can take that much? So you go on to fit an aftermarket one, and then a bigger pulley for the supercharger to support. And you're all out to go back to drift. And all you require to do is just an oil change after every 2 sessions. And some old tires, we can hook you up with some fancy cheap tires which can last for about 3 sessions. That's how we made it affordable.
How much does a drift car cost?
To build, the whole package would be about 1.5 lakh tops.
So that's like 4.5 lakhs for a used 203 and a lakh and a half.
I'm talking about a fully fancy drift build, like you're talking about a race seat, talking about an aftermarket steering with the one that just pops out, and then a nudge bar, which will be like in case if you happen to bang into something, your car is still just like bumper is off. Otherwise, nothing, no damage to the
So
car.
like 6 lakhs and you get a proper
Tops.
rear wheel drive drift car.
Tops.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I think for a year and a half that we've been doing, there's literally nothing that really goes bad on the car. Small parts that we can hook you up with a dealer who's somebody sitting in a scrapyard will easily source the...
So how many of these cars have you built?
Two we busted, to be honest. Like we started our journey with them. We got everything wrong about them.
So that's your R&D cars?
R&D cars.
Okay.
And now we are using as a donor car. 5 that sits with me, like me, my brother, some of my friends. 5 in my garage. Like I'll probably pull them off on the track day and we announce the track day and we come over and see. But in and around Pune, we got about 17 of them.
Okay, 17.
Yeah. And you'll probably see all of them at the Underground.
Yeah. And you do regular events, regular drift events?
With cars, commercially nothing. I would go back to do it for friends and family to come over, followed by a barbecue, a nice time together. It's like a mini underground meet where we socialize.
How do people get in touch with you to build a drift car or buy a drift car?
A lot of them have got in touch with us.
How do they get in touch with you?
There's a dedicated page that sits with us. Like the off-duty driver is very active.
Okay.
For all our drift questions that they may have.
Okay, so
they write
on
to us.
Instagram, off-duty driver?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of them would want to enroll themselves, but it looks fancy. So for our first recommendation to them is to come over for a free taxi ride, see what we do, how difficult is it, what kind of changes we've done. If it really still is exciting you, then we go back to get you to build it. We won't recommend them to get trained with us unless they want to try their hands with Sanam and then polish their skills and all of that. But
So you don't do training?
We do training.
Oh, you do train?
Yeah, I mean, if you insist saying that, hey, listen, I'm here, I don't want to get trained, I just want to have a good day, more than happy to come over and we'll try and train you with everything.
And all of this is based out of Pune?
Everything.
Or do you take this whole shebang and go to other cities?
Not really. I mean, logistically, it's a lot. And honestly, I mean, schools do exist. Do I really want to eat up out of somebody who's doing this commercially? Maybe no. So I would rather say... come over, have fun, and it's very rare to find a dedicated track. And for me, I think a lot of things that can go wrong from where a newbie is being made to sit on a drift car. There will be possible too many things that can go wrong. So do you really want to put him into that space? So my track's fairly big enough, cordoned off in all areas. Safety aspects are there. At any point in time, I have about 25 crew who will join me. And there is nobody who's new who's learning. I'll have this crew to have fun with me. So in turn, they get to learn. I get better with my skills, and that's how we've been having fun, honestly.
Off-duty driver is what, 2 years, 3 years old?
Just about 2 years and 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is one of the first drift schools in the country?
Yes, officially yes, where we have trainer who's certified like Sanam and won some international trophies as well. That way, yes, officially yes.
Yeah, I've seen Sanam drifting,
Yeah.
and especially at your underground events, between those pillars, I think he's a lunatic.
It blew. There's nothing that can come
It's
close to it.
astonishing what he does.
Absolutely. So this time around, 2025, we are having him to compete internationally to bring in some fame to India. The kind of talent that he sits with, it's not fair to limit him to India.
So that's off-duty driver, which is an offshoot of your underground movement. Talk us through the whole progression of underground. So you started off with 17 cars,
Right.
with your friends and family. The next year, how did it become bigger?
With underground, we've always thought of not repeating the places because so you are clueless about where is it happening next. So we've done editions out of a friend's factory. That was very crazy edition that happened. We've done editions out of a construction building. The basement was given to us while we were promoting the builder in the bargain. And then we've found our spots out of some theaters. We've done out of a 5-star hotel which was at Westin. So I think we've been kind enough with like the way we do it. I think that I think has helped us get us some nice association where people have really vouched for us in the property. This whole underground scene is done safely with all the required permissions. And we know Mazain, so he's one of Pune boys. So his construction building is where the last edition done out of a basement. So to your question, I think how we progressed. By obviously keeping this with close knit, I think we've had challenges as far as the money part is concerned. But this is as a team that we sit as Underground, we've always thought this is something that will only let money go off. We'll not look at anything making out of this. One party that we'll throw to a community. So money-wise, we've been challenged, but association-wise, the kind of people that we met, the kind of people have come back to become a part of the community, we've been absolutely glad with the journey. So 17 on the first edition to become a 50, and then from there we've only multiplied. It's come to a point today, like 15 days back I had to close my entry, keeping it open only for the friends, few people who probably are late in the scene. Otherwise, officially, we've closed our entries. I want to always do justice to everybody who shows up. I want to have some me time with him. I want to have him come to the stage. I want to have him take the ramp so that he gets some camera and attention and all of that. We do not have visitors. So all that happens, the content generally is viral through eyeballs on the social media. It's worked in a way, and I'm glad to Instagram and other social media that exists. This has also helped us spread the right message to people. So yes, I think in many ways, while it can probably and I think in a way where it can go bad is single incident which is not suitable to the car culture can spread.
Yeah.
Out of 10 good things that you do.
Yeah, the one bad thing people catch on, and then
that's
gets,
viral.
That
and I think
viral.
with what we do, and I think just because the live nature of Underground, I cannot have all of my friends, even if they were great car passionate guys, some of them get upset. But do I really want to compromise the whole luxury of what happens in Underground, the surprise element and all of that? A lot of people get upset. But eventually some of them who've got really upset and probably taken into his ego has gone back to become my friends now. So I think I want to stick to one ground, saying that I'm working towards car culture to see where we land. In the journey we may create some enemies or not so good friends as well. That's also okay as far as the messaging is done right.
The car spotter community, that's
Right.
become really huge.
Yeah.
I'm sure those guys are at your door, banging down your door saying that, tell us, let us come in.
Some of them have gone back to become professional photographers. See, they are equally passionate people. And if they have the talent, we want to create a platform for them. So honestly, I think about 5 of them that I work very closely now are working with stores, which are detailing stores. Some of them are working with MX store, which is again inspired motorsports store, are working professionally as their photographers and making good money out of them. So while now if I was just doing my graduation, I have a journey to look forward to. Gone back to join a photography school in Symbiosis. That's how I've seen people who've done really well. Some of our boys have also moved international doing this same thing. So it's helping them carry their passion with some talent while it's making some money. I think again a community to look
So
forward
this is
to.
like a facilitator for not just car guys who've got cars, but basically enthusiasts, car culture enthusiasts, to come hone their craft, get an avenue to display what they can do, and then make it big from there.
You said it. I wouldn't want to change anything more from what you said. That's exactly how I imagine this place. And that's how we have a community which is like today, we're meeting for an Underground. At any point in time after 7 o'clock, I'll have about 62 people. They'll be showing up and to understand what is their role in the current Underground. And I'll share some stories from today. Yeah, so that's I think they just show up from their busy schedules, their colleges. Some of them have their exams, but they go back to support. And I think every time you've stepped into my show, there's no commercial guy that I've hired. It's just the community guys working, owning up.
Yeah, it's all friends who are there, who are
Absolutely.
just out there to have a good time, but also to put together a great event. And doing events is not easy. And especially the last event that I came, I think y'all had some 100 cars or 200 cars I think that was 2 years ago, in the basement at the Seasons Mall.
162 in Pune and about 213 in Bombay.
Yeah, so
we did back-to-back 2 editions.
So that's wild to get that number of cars. Obviously, then you multiply that by, say, 4, the number of people that are over there, and putting all of that together, handling everything and making sure it runs safely.
Yeah, while we wanted to restrict it, but Universal attracted, like we were launching Fast and Furious. It's a dream come true to kind of have associated with that movie in any way. And we were launching it, and second world premiere is what we did. I think that clearly goes back to become the finest memory of association that we've had, but that attracted a lot of crowd. And I think our fear was to ensure that we deliver, because we are associating with somebody who's international. So a lot of pressure that put in, but I think the way it fell, it just got us a lot of attention, and lot of it was really great.
Do you have bikes also?
Bike, we've had platforms like India Bike Week, and is there like a superbike festival in Pune? But was there a community for cars? Maybe it didn't. That's the reason why we said we want to just, while bike is close to our heart, like all of us are bikers in the underground group, but we kept it limited to cars. And I think that's enough and more to take care of in the cars. And bike can be fun in the same element, but are all the bikers car guys? Maybe not. So do we really want to put two communities together and create tussle? I think rather focus on one and do justice to it.
What are the cool cars that have come for Underground?
Oh, well, I thought I'll probably restrict my collection to about 10, 12 cars. But the list has moved up to about 20. We managed 11 of them, but it's time that I'm now fighting with my family to see if they will still allow me to stay at home. So with the cool cars, and I think this time around we have the only one in India in that condition, Murcielago, that's going to show up as a show car.
Okay.
One I cannot disclose because I myself is very, very excited about it. But I'll reserve that till you see it and I'll probably personally come and talk to you.
In the past, so let's talk about the cars that have come in the past. So what have been the cool cars that have come for Underground in the past?
Like a BMW E90 with a 2JZ setup, sounding great, running to a level because and we drove that car to a Bombay edition as well. It was equally great, like a drift car fully built, doing a 200 on the highway. And we've seen that on a safe environment. These cars been built in India has surprised me. Underground 7, coolest car ever. Sanam's car to see in person was, oh my God, is this even India? And 118 NE with a Baleno engine, fully souped up in a Fast Furious edition is insane. Somebody does a Lancer, replicating it to a Paul Walker's edition with a hand brush of Paul Walker's thing on the bonnet was special for me. These are memories, and I think to talk about somebody who's a Fiat Punto turned into like a 600 bhp just for the edition. While practical issues were way too many, did it run? Maybe in the underground, but not at the valley run. But to have somebody build this for an underground and want to launch it at underground was a special edition. Was really very special for me.
Underground is a yearly event.
Annual event, yes.
Annual event.
I can't afford more than that.
And you also do that in Bombay, like you said?
So last time around, Universal insisted that we have to have a show at Bombay as well. Pune being our home ground and Underground being a Pune property, we said we'll do it only for you, only if it's happening in Pune. So to which they agreed to have it done out of West End.
But otherwise it is Pune based.
Pune based. Yeah.
Okay.
While we've had friends and family calling us to do it out of Bangalore and all that, but there's so much logistically required, and I think Pune being a base, it's easier. It's not easy, but it's just manageable, if I would say. But to go out of different state, and I think while we're exploring it, but I'm not really sure if it's really, because I know what goes into it, it's really practical to take it. Are we ready yet? Maybe no.
Okay, so in normal course, we would tell you that, okay, so-and-so date at this time, at this location is happening, come and watch. But rules of the Underground, so we can't tell you where it is. We'll obviously have lots of content on our social media channels, on YouTube also, on the Underground, the 9th Underground that's happening in Pune. And also bring you some of the coolest cars and the cool car guys, girls that have been there at the event, right? So that's happening very soon. Again, we can't tell you
very soon.
Yeah, we can't tell you
if you know, you know.
What kind of cars do you select for this? So you talked about Zens that are there. You talked about drift cars that are there.
Yeah.
Do you have SUVs? Do you have like Dakar kind of builds over there?
Well, I am very closely associated with off-road world. I've done RFC myself for about 5 years. So my RFC build this time around is coming to Underground. And we've always had some special out of the way going, because there's a platform that exists for off-road. There's enough and more events. So do I really want all of them here? I would love to, but does a place really, do I really want to miss out on the Zens, which are closer to my heart, than have a 4-car taking space of off-roader? So the answer is, we don't engage as much because there's a platform that already exists for that community. But couple of them which are gone out of the way to done a turbo gypsy or probably an RFC build very special. Just to learn out of it, we'll probably engage with them to have them on the this thing.
So I've seen Contessas at your events. I've seen a lot of these older Indian cars, the SS80.
Yeah.
A lot of those cars which have a historic significance from an Indian car culture kind of theme. The Sierra also, that has been
Yeah,
there at
yeah.
your underground events.
Yeah.
Do you consciously promote that?
Couple of reasons. I've grown them, looking at them, and drooled over them. One of my are my favorite cars because childhood. That's how we've grown looking at them, and always aspired to own them. So yes, they are the ones I go to. If there's somebody who's done justice to the car, I'll try and bring them. Invite myself. They've been winners as well. Well, apart from that, I think supercars, but do I really want to engage with somebody who's just bought a supercar? Maybe no. If I know there's a background to it, he's a car guy, multiple cars that he's bought to now make this and why, if there's a story behind it, then I'll probably engage with them as well. So it's a platform for anybody and everybody to answer that. And I think more so Indian cars, because India on an average is, can everybody afford a supercar and modify it? No. And I wouldn't want to do it if I bought a Porsche 911. I like to just keep it at my bedroom and just see it the way she is. But yes, if I was a car guy, I want to learn something out of the cars. I'll encourage those young kids, 40,000 rupees, you pick up an 800, make it a beautiful car. And I'm building myself an 800 for the next edition already. And this, where you get to learn, it's practical, parents are proud of you, and it becomes a fun toy. You want to just take it for an evening ride and have a good time and still feel very great about you. And I think at the end of it, your parents are not upset, rather they're proud of you. Because you value
Okay, I
such
got to
things.
admit, in this conversation, so I've got my Zen,
Right.
which was my car
Yeah,
in college,
yeah.
and it's now parked at home and
Right.
it's just taking up space. And I was in fact going to put a post on Instagram saying that, okay, it's time to say goodbye to it. But now I'm actually inspired to go and do, maybe put a Baleno engine or an steam engine into it and restore it and do something crazy. You are responsible for it.
Like, I mean, like knowing you and the history of the Zen, and I think just trust us with the project. Let me just help you build that, and you probably have the most exciting car back to you again.
Okay, so if nothing, or if probably we have not brought out the car culture properly in this episode of the podcast, one thing's for sure, the Zen is not going. We'll probably do a project on the Zen. And
100%. It
do
totally
something
demands
cool
your
with it.
attention and time, and I promise you, it will not disappoint you.
Super. Let's do that. I want to talk about the car culture scene. Okay. When you started off, obviously it must not have been at the level that it is today. What are the challenges in doing something like this? Which also for a lot of people, it looks like a very Western concept. It's not like something that is a done thing in the country.
Look, I mean, my biggest fear is the electric world that's already taking over. And then on top of it, I think if things to make it more worse, we've got this about the new trend that government is coming in with, to put the old cars to sleep and then end this in any way possible. And I'm glad, I think there are people who think differently like me. And am I really trying to convert other people to think like me? Yes, that's the motive. All the more reason why we should have this, because a generation like a decade back, somebody who's born into 90s or maybe like later after that or recently, wouldn't know what it felt like to what our car world look like. All the more reason why we should really want to go back to bring them to life. And I think to an extent that I see in social media, I think a Lambo guy may not have as much like as what a 800 guy is got it. And I think glad, I think if this continues, then we'll probably all those cars that are going to a junkyard may become somebody's toys back home, and which are safe and they're not very fast. So things may go wrong, but I understand there's no airbags and all of that, but that's how we lived.
Yeah. What are the challenges?
In terms of managing these or in general?
First thing, doing an event like this.
Well, I think you always promote yourself in a certain way. Do you really post execution? Did it really come out the way you said you want to? That I think is something that I think in my mind, I think that's a lot of pressure that sits on me. But was there, if you've come into the event, maybe you're traveling from a different state, was it really worth for you? Is the second question that'll run from my mind. If you've come in, that's a pressure that also sits on me. But that, again, bringing those set of people who understand that, like, I'm not a professional event manager, and we do this as just purely because we want to promote car culture. So they've been accommodative as well. A lot of people have given feedbacks for us to get better in whatever ways we are today, and some people who appreciate us has has gone back to spread the word in a better way. That has helped us to get more people in the community likewise. So am I into a pressure right now? Not really, because I've done this too many times, but I'm also supporting too many other people across the country to do a similar event so that they grow to become like me. So imagine a car scene. If every state become like a Kerala, so we'll be a great country for the automobile culture as well.
Why Kerala?
I get inspired with Kerala and their bodied culture so many ways. Chandigarh is underrated again, but you can sit in a cab and you'll be ashamed in the way the cabs are managed. Like fully blown kit, mag wheels mandate, skirting on the car, and how I don't know how they manage. We're mighty impressed with how, like, I can announce in Underground 2 days before, and even a taxi guy shows it, it'll still be an Underground in Chandigarh. That's how cool the place is. With Kerala, I don't know if it's their connection with Middle East. The culture's pretty rich. They know what they're doing, and a lot of things get inspired looking at them. The guys are very technically sound. Literacy obviously accounts to that. They're heavily automobile driven, so that has helped us to inspire a lot of other people. Like, I would want to go international and bring in those parts of what I see out of Kerala. Like, when have we seen high riser, like, that can just go back to become like a zero car on a street? A couple of them are coming in the Underground. I'd love for you to see it. But yes, heavily inspired by Kerala in whatever ways they do things. But overall, I think, the journey where we're headed.
No scope for electrics in Underground?
Well, we don't engage. Without an engine, without a transmission, do I really connect with the car? I love them the way they drive. I love the comfort. We did some world record ride. Record ride that we drove.
Yeah.
It has my heart, like the way I felt after the whole journey of whatever time limit that we had. Do I felt after that?
Yeah, you did one leg of the Taken Golden Quadrilateral record that we did.
Very special. It's like right on the top of my achievements. The certificate is printed and all that. But the journey was amazing. But that also could be because by Porsche is Porsche, and it has heart in whatever ways that it operates. But yes, I think with no comms with electric, but is it fair for an electric to do a complete takeover? Maybe not. I think this is special in so many other ways, and I like that to be felt with generations to come.
And I think with further expansion of electric vehicles, an underground event focused on ICE and combustion vehicles will be even cooler, because that probably will be the only place where enthusiasts will get to see the cars that their parents grew up with.
Absolutely. I think that ways, I think it has worked with me. Like, the electric culture has helped me doing that, since say what the erstwhile world looked like, and probably getting so much attention out of the people right now. I'm enjoying all the attention, but conscious that the messaging is gone right as well.
You see exponential growth in the car culture scene in India?
Exponential is, I think, the right term. Yeah, I think the way it has grown multifolds is amazing. And I think I honestly, when I thought of this journey, like where I am today, I'll probably see myself only 5 years from where I am today. Like, I announced an Underground, and I think I'm done with the kind of cars that I want to see in about 10 days. I honestly didn't see the response in India, at least. I didn't know it was during my dad days, and I know some international riders would come here. Himalayan Rally would start. My dad would participate, and I think we've had some foreigners come and do Himalayan Rally here. Culture existed then. So have I really rubbed it to make it shinier right now? Yes, I think that ways it has helped, and it has grown exponentially for sure.
Mm-hmm. One last message for somebody who wants to jump into this whole underground scene.
Well, if you're passionate enough, you go back to do what it takes. You could be just learning. You probably surprise us with the knowledge of the cars that you have. You would probably build something special for us. You would send some nice messaging out of your Instagram post. It's pretty strong tool that you can use for yourself. Or probably just show up for a normal garage meet that we do and tell us why you're special and how you connect with your cars. And you could be one of us and part of our community. That's how simple it is.
Super, Jeet. Thank you for taking time out of what must be a really busy schedule, because very soon you are going to have the actual on-ground event.
I'm all heads down in terms of what I've got to deliver. A lot of pressure, but this is what we live for. And I think while underground is underground, days before to that is where the fun is.
Super.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeet.
Pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching and listening to this special episode of the Evo India podcast. We are, after all, Evo. We are about the thrill of driving, and the underground movement is very close to our heart. Our entire team is going to be there. So stay tuned to our YouTube channels, our social media channels, because we'll have a lot of content from underground, including all the cool cars and the cool car and bike. Okay, not so much bike, but cool car guys and gals at the event. Thank you again for watching. And if you have any more comments, thoughts, suggestions, let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this podcast, give us a thumbs up and share this with like-minded enthusiasts. Thank you once again.
Thank you, people. Thank you. Pleasure.